I'm back. I promised you we come back on in an hour, crossed our fingers and hoped it all worked out. Now, some of you may have gone over to my YouTube page and had a chance to watch the interview already. But if not, I promise to come back on because I like to talk with you, like to interact with you and make sure you're doing okay, get a mental health check on you, but also to kind of give you a little rundown of some of the things that we do behind the scenes, as well as just be real and very authentic to you. So, yes, there was a little issue. There was an error loading this, but I wanted to make sure that we got it on for you live so that we could actually talk together. So if you didn't know, I posted it last night that we were going to have Tony Horton on, and we are right now. Tony Horton, who is known worldwide as Mr. P90x. Okay, so he was with Beachbody for many, many, many years. And if you have followed him over the years, you know that I don't want to say there was a falling out, but they just, thank you. Good morning, Madeline. And Innovair is on with us. Of course, you always see Dr. Willie with us on Mondays. Glad they're watching. He and Beachbody parted ways, and he started his own thing. It's kind of like, you have this dream, you have this passion, you know what you're doing, might as well do it on your own. So he did. He launched Power Nation, which is an incredible community, and it's a private community of people that are all like-minded, and they all have the same goal in mind, which is to take care of your mental health, your physical health, and your spiritual health. And that is exactly what he's been doing. So he calls it the power of four. And I do something very similar, as many of you know that follow. I do the triangle of life. So we're very synergistic. And I was thrilled that I was able to not only get Tony to do our interview, but also Melissa Costello. Now, Melissa, he is a big, big fan of Melissa's. Melissa owns Karma Chow, and that is something that you can see in a cookbook. She did the Ultimate Reset program. She was his private chef for a long, long time. So we're going to talk about all of that. I promised that we would come back for you, and I hope we can get a lot of numbers on here to watch this live. If you ever need to, you can go to my YouTube page, and if you have friends and family all over the world that are not on Facebook, that's why I wanted to come back on and let you know that they can watch always on YouTube. We're streaming live for you right now on 3 sources: my Facebook business page, my personal page, and actually on YouTube for those that want to watch live. I like to come on live, like I said, because I think it really generates more and more and more people. So good morning to you. It's 8:02, a little hour later than we normally come on to you live. Gave you the forecast last hour. Let me give it to you again. Get outside, have some, lunch or dinner maybe with friends if you want outside, because it's going to be gorgeous. We're talking mid 50s for a high today and tomorrow, and dry. The sun is shining right now. It's a beautiful way to start your day. Saturday, you're going to have some rain though. It's going to be about 49 for a high, and then back into the low to mid 50s on Sunday. So there's your forecast. Okay, everybody, are you ready for it? Mr. Fitness himself, do me a favor, please share, like, follow this particular show, and so that always you can let people know that we're bringing you some positivity and helping you along with what you need to fill out the triangle of life or the power of four. I'll be back after this segment. I'd like to know what you think. And if you've ever done, I really want to interact with you. If you've ever done his programs, I'd like to know how he has helped to change your life. All right, enjoy. Well, good morning and welcome aboard to the Real Monica Adams Show. Truly blessed to have you along with us each and every day, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Remember to watch us on YouTube and Facebook, always there for you. Remember, if you just started watching and you found me organically, thank you. If somebody told you to watch the show, thank them, please, because we really want to spread the kindness, to connect the things that I've been talking about with my clients for many, many, many years. We started that transformation journey program a long time ago, which brings together the mental, spiritual, physical side of life. I talk about the triangle of life theory that I started, 7 years ago, because as a personal trainer, I always knew it wasn't the food. It wasn't the aspect of maybe lacking your workouts. It was this. And how does that all connect? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. Someone I have long followed in the fitness industry and admired is someone that I used to have on my radio show. Remember KMOX when I used to host that? It was our health and fitness show, and I brought him on several times. I also, in my life coaching class, had a woman that's deeply connected to him from the nutrition standpoint. So Tony Horton and Melissa Costello are my guests today. We're going to talk about all those things. We're also going to discuss, and I want you to tell every woman that you know that is over the age of 50 to watch this, because Tony really has honed in on that age group. And I'm so thrilled for that. You know, you talk about perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause. Men, I want you to pay attention to this as well, because you are a huge, huge support system and help along the way. So that is a massive part that I want you to understand, that if it wasn't for you, if you weren't a big part of that and understand the importance of the role that you play in that, well, we would have a big, big struggle. Let me tell you that. So Tony Horton, you know the name, P90X fame, but what has he been doing if you hadn't followed him all this time? Power Nation is where it's at, baby. And for the last several years, I've been a part of that community. Melissa Costello, from a nutrition standpoint, private chef to Tony. If you know about the Karma Chow cookbook, maybe you did the Ultimate Reset. She's behind that. And I'm thrilled to talk to them both today. So let me bring them on. Hello, Tony. Hello, Melissa. Thank you for being a part of this.
Monica, my pleasure. It's great to be here. And Melissa Costello, it's going to be fun.
Hi, Tony.
So your mama takes your sweatpants away. That's good.
Tony, people have been following you for a long, long time. We've all been in our gyms, in our home, doing these incredible workouts. You know, we go back to Power 90, P90X, plus, continuing to go on and on and on. Oh, we lost Melissa. Oh, it's her connection. I hope we can get her back. So here's the thing. You then, there she is. You went out on your own and you started your own thing, which I want people to be able to follow. And we're going to talk about that today. But when you started it all, I mean, I know your story from talking to you years back, but let's just go back to that. Like, how did you ever become someone who wanted to have such a deep passion for fitness to change people's lives all over the world?
Well, Monica, it was a fluke, an absolute fluke, and nothing but a fluke. So help me God. I came out to California to be an actor, and I wanted to be a comedian. So I tried some stand up. That's hard. And then I did a lot of improv. I was with Second City, LA. If you're familiar with Second City, Chicago, they started up a little school here, and that unfortunately didn't last more than a year for financial reasons. But that was kind of where I was at, and I had an agent, and I was going on auditions, and it was fun, but it was tough because I was living on Cheerios and yogurt most days, but lunch and dinner. And it's awesome out here. I'm not not on the tri-state area anymore. Not that there's any room over there, but I love the fact that I was exercising, really not just to be a better football player, which I wasn't. I mean, I was on a football team, more of a tackling dummy, really, between Mondays and Thursdays. I didn't really get to play very often. But I fell in love with the culture. These are really cool people to meet. And, at one point I was a member of 4 different gyms, if you can believe that. I was a member of World Gym, where Arnold Schwarzenegger and were there. And I would take notes.
He's behind me. It says Obsession. He's behind me.
There it is. Yep. And so I would just cheat on those guys. I would just check on poor Melissa.
She got a bad connection.
I think she's on the dark side of the moon. It could be part of the There you are again. You're in and out. It's fun. So those were the early days, and then I was working as a runner or a PA, a production assistant at 20th Century Fox. And my boss at that time was trying to make movies, and they were having a tough time. And I was getting in shape because my agent told me I was looking pretty weak. I was kind of what you'd call back in that day, people still use this term, but I was skinny fat. I looked fine, but I was mushy and I had a belly. And they said, hey man, if you want to work in this town, you gotta cut that out. And so I started working out and I got in great shape. And then my boss noticed. And so before we both went to work, I was training him, and then cut to when we both left that job. I left my job and he left his, because I left my job because he left his. And we went back to his old business of making music over at East End Management. And Tom Petty was walking down the hall and he was smoking a cigarette, and he said, hey Harlan, you look fantastic. I'm going on tour in 4 months and I'm fat. Nobody likes a fat rocker. So Harlan told Tom to call me. And so Tom called me, and my roommate picked up the phone. Of course, Tom Petty's not calling. So my roommate hung up the phone on Tom Petty.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. And then Tom called back. True story. Hey, we got disconnected. I don't know if he was smoking a cigarette on the phone. Very, very likely.
It's like Melissa. She's disconnected because
is she a magician? Is she a magician? It's like a Melissa, do you know that you're going in and out? I don't know if you know this or not.
I do, and I don't know what to do about it. We have super high winds in Santa Barbara today, so
it's real. Let me tell you something. The name of the show is The Real Monica Adams for a reason, because I wish more people would be authentic. Look, we've got roofers, so you'll hear hammering.
Yeah.
I mean, I love this. Is so the way life is.
This is life, baby.
Real.
Yeah, you got to keep on smiling and keep on pressing forward. And by the way, that explains why my awning wanted to rip off the house. I think we're getting some of your winds down here. But anyway, to make a long story good.
Yes.
I started training Tom, and I got him in great shape for this tour. And then it was Billy Idol, mate. Fantastic. What'd you do to Tom Petty, man? And then it was Bruce Springsteen and Annie Lennox from Eurythmics, and Bryce Dallas Howard, and Allison Janney, and Octavia Spencer, and Stephen Stills, and and Shirley, and then Sean Connery, Submarines Don't React with Bullets, and Shirley MacLaine. I mean, I could write a book just on those experiences. So all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, I better get certified, because I mean, I was only faking it at that point. But I was a curious guy, and I was, I mean, that's where Muscle Confusion came from way back in the day, because there was a lot at stake, because they were in movies and they were on TV and they were going on these tours, and their management people were always pecking at me about, hey man, who is this guy anyway? And they all got in great shape, and well, not all of them. I tried, but some of them. I won't name names. There goes Melissa again. I'm sure she'll be back soon.
Mime and magician. Boom. There she's back.
Boom.
Exactly. I'm just going to keep popping in and out as
a magic trick during this. We're like,
by the way, every time you disappear, I'm sure it's a 30-mile-an-hour gust or more. I'm just pretty sure.
Stay safe inside, Melissa.
You would think with all the technology that we wouldn't have these issues anymore.
Yeah. So okay. So it started with all that. You get certified, and then you get into it. We're going to go deeper into that aspect and how the P90X thing came around, Beachbody, etc. But how do you two meet?
Oh, do you remember, Tony?
I remember you showed up at my house one day for a cooking demonstration, and I'm like, wait a minute, what is Melissa doing at my house? How did that end up? And you were invited by who? I think it was that Stasia?
No, so Dawn. Actually, I met you at a Votre for the very first time. You were having dinner there. Mm-hmm. And then Dawn said, my friend Melissa cooks, and I did a cooking demonstration at your house.
Right.
Yeah. And then you loved the food, and you said, will you cook for me? And that was how it started. Please cook for me,
because I don't do that.
And how long ago was that?
Gosh, 2007?
2007, 2008. Yep. Yeah, for a couple of years you were.
And so, Melissa, you and I have talked during one of my life coaching classes in the past, talking about, plant-based lifestyle. Everybody looks at you, you're in great shape, beautiful woman, and think, oh, she's always had her life together. I love the fact that you've been so raw. There she is. Let's snap our fingers and bring her back. She was so real and raw. There she is. Boom. Right?
2007. I'm sorry, you guys. I feel really bad about this.
Please don't be. Melissa, one of the things that I loved, and this is the thing that I need people to hear, is the real and the authentic side. You talked about the struggles that you have had with me on my class, the eating disorders, the non-belief in yourself. Can you go a little deeper into that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I grew up, in eating a lot of junk food. I grew up in a family that was very judgmental about body. And it was, there was constant comments being made in my household from my brothers and my father. And so I grew up with a lot of body image issues, and that started, yo-yo dieting when I was really young, and emotional eating. And, and then I was constantly going up and down in my weight. And even though I was, athletic and I was into fitness, I went through periods of time where I didn't do anything. And, and then with the emotional eating, it just compounds, and I didn't feel good about myself. And so that's why I started kind of doing the work that I do now with women, and just really helping them kind of transform the way they feel about themselves and the way they relate to food. Because the food it's such a big piece of our lives. And, it's really hard when we don't like our bodies and we're eating, because we correlate the two all the time. Right. And so that can be really challenging.
Absolutely. How long have you been following more of a plant-based lifestyle?
I can't hear you.
You can't? Oh, there she goes again. So let me ask you, Tony, how long have you been following a plant-based lifestyle?
Well, I got pretty sick in October 2017, ended up with Ramsay-Hunt syndrome. And it turned out, I thought I was doing everything right. And I had tried veganism, twice before, but just wasn't getting enough protein. So I was turning into an anemic little sad man. I looked good, but I was just exhausted. I mean, the Epstein-Barr kicked in. I mean, I had some autoimmune issues as well. Melissa's very aware of all of that. And so we had to clean up my act. And so I did a lot of blood work, and we went through the blood work, and I had like 134-page dietary analysis. I mean, you name every possible food that you can think of. Like, here are all the 47 nuts. Here are this like 18 kinds of broccoli. Here's the 109 kinds of rice. You can have this one, but not that one and that one. Sesame seeds are out. Tomatoes are out. Wheat, soy, corn, and dairy out, which should be the case for most people anyway. And 3 months of that, and then I began to sprinkle in foods over time, and I cleaned up my leaky gut, which relates to leaky brain. Oh my gosh. Who knew I had leaky brain? I know I had brain problems.
That's what's coming out of my ear.
Come out of the shower and go, I think that's
not a hair I need my wife to cut.
Brain? Come on, is that just water? I don't know what's going on. But I got my energy back. I got my strength back. And then I was very fortunate to meet the people that make Power Life over there. Sorry, camera's backwards. And they helped me create some formulations that, help with the HMB and vitamin D and chromium and sun fiber and, probiotics and prebiotics. Came up with these formulas that helped me, get those back. So it was hard, but now, look, I try not to be too pious about it. I've been talking to Dr. Daniel Pompa, and he goes, you talk about muscle confusion with exercise. Food confusion is also very important because it allows it allows the body to adapt to, if it's all fruits and vegetables all the time, then you could end up with some real issues. I know that Melissa's had some of that stuff in her past. So I'm in Jackson Hole, and I see, medium rare elk medallions on the menu. I'm going to order me the elk medallion. There's
I'm
wild.
so glad you said that, because you've talked. Well, again, so Tony does. Let me reintroduce. Tony Horton and Melissa Costello are my guests, and we're talking about so many aspects of fitness and mindset and eating and the way we live our lives. And you did this on one of your classes that you get together with Power Nation, and you talked about, okay, if I had to give it a percentage, this percentage is vegan, but I am not going to pass on that. And I love that real aspect of you.
Yeah. Because I don't want to feel deprived. Melissa was brilliant. For 2 years, I ate her meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it was, and then she found another career and moved on, which made me very sad. But, she's got to write books too. She gets to have a life. But I eat fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins and healthy fats, and most of them are plant-based or vegan, and that seems to work for me. Works for my digestive system, works for my brain health, works for my energy, helps me sleep better. And that's it. But every once in a while, like last night, I went, I'm going to have me a great big, it happened to be vegan, chocolate chip cookie. It's that big, it's that thick, and I put it in the toaster oven, and it was melty and warm, and I ate it, and it made me smile. And so I don't get too pious or myopic about this stuff. But for the most part, I know what keeps me healthy and it keeps me feeling good. And that's what I do, and then every once in a while I cheat, but it's rare. My cheats are, I'm like a 95% spot on, 5%. Woo, let's go for it.
Well, and I want to address that with Melissa because, Melissa, you have a client of mine that I've been training for a while, and I handed her over between you and I and her and really worked on herself. And I know she'll be watching this show, as are a lot of my past clients, current clients, and they've always tried to say, oh my gosh, I'm beating myself up, Melissa. If I do this, I'm trying to be healthy, but then they give so much power to the food.
Yes. Yeah. So much power to the food where they're not enjoying their lives anymore. And that food kind of takes over their lives instead of them, eating to support themselves and nourish themselves. It's like they start cutting things out. And then when they eat those things, they feel bad about it. And then it's like they have to start all over, where I just tell them, really enjoy those things. Like, you don't have to eat large amounts of them to actually enjoy them, savor them. Like, if you're going to have, the big cookie or whatever, like, really take your time and savor it, sit down, enjoy it, and let go of the guilt, like, own it. If you're going to eat it, own it. I always say that. And that really helps women kind of change their relationship to food and not see it as kind of, evil or that it's working against them, that they can really take charge.
Well, and being present, right? Instead of, I mean, that's the whole thing. Chefs take all this time, make this beautiful presentation, they put it out, and then people just devour it and they don't even know that, oh my God, where'd the food go? It's like, well, the magic trick that we've been doing during this segment. It's like, disappear, Melissa, bring her back. Where'd the food go? It's like, calm down, have some time with the people you're spending time with, and then slowly eat it. I've heard in the past, and I don't know if it was in Ultimate Reset that YouTube were behind, or if it was in your Karma Chow book, but it talked about how we are supposed to really chew, almost to liquefy our food. And that was a big aha moment for so many of my clients.
Yeah.
And that's not easy to do. I mean, we're so used to devouring our food, like bite, gone.
Yeah.
And then you discover that, wow, I didn't realize how much texture and taste and flavor this particular food I'm having. And that way you're satiated sooner, and then you're not overeating. It's a pretty simple, basic trick. And, look, munching it down to a liquid is, a 37.
Exactly.
I mean, at least double what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is like 1, 2, 3, swallow. 1, 2, 3, swallow.
Yep.
It helps to maybe 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 and I've sometimes I catch myself too where I feel like, what's the hurry, man? I mean, this is a beautiful meal. Take my time, sit back and enjoy it, and that's the way to go, really.
Yeah.
Once again, if you're just tuning in, Tony Horton, Melissa Costello are my guests. We're going to talk about the transition from what you knew him for so many years, from P90X, from the whole Beachbody aspect, and then going out and doing this amazing program that he's been doing for the last several years, and how you might be able to be a part of it. More information from Melissa as well to take you into the best mental state you can be, spiritual state you can be, connection to food, not letting it rule your life, all that. We're going to have more with Tony and Melissa when we return. Envita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Envita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Envita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Envita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment, or online, EnvitaHealthAndWellness.com. Think about this. When's the last time you called your doctor at 2 o'clock in the morning and he actually answered? Well, at Innovair Health Advocates, their patients are special. Their doctors, nurse practitioners, their care team care deeply about your health, your family, your work, and even your pet. Their clinicians are accessible and they lead your care in and out of the hospital. In fact, Dr. Charles Willie offers his cell phone number to his patients to ensure they can intervene early in your illness. They can provide care above and beyond, offering lab, X-ray, echocardiogram, and other treatments in their office. Innovair Health Advocates with 5 locations on both sides of the river. Check them out, innovairhealth.com. Well, welcome back. If you're just tuning in, again, it's the Real Monica Adams Show. Why real? Because I want more people to be authentic. Be more like these two. I've had a truly blessed life in broadcasting for 30 years. And then I left back on January 2nd, as many of you know, to just launch this brand, to get the message out that Tony's been doing here for the last... When did you start, Tony, by the way? Tony Horton, Melissa Costello, if you're just tuning in. Tony, when did you leave Beachbody and then launch your own?
I think it's been about 6 years now. When I left, kind of a mutual agreement. I think they were moving in one direction, and I felt as if it was important for me to move in another. I mean, whatever, people do what they need to do, and I just felt like it was time for my supplement line. I wasn't able to have something like that at Beachbody, and at the early stages of Beachbody, I had a lot of say, and then the company got pretty big, and so a lot of times I was just waiting around for my turn. And I thought, I'm ready to go now. And when I'm ready to go, I want to go. So we built this platform called Power Nation. And I've got a program on there called The Power of 4. And there's 24 workouts on that one. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to share that platform with other trainers and experts like Melissa and others so that they get their opportunities, they get their shot. I was very fortunate that Carl Deichler, the CEO of Beachbody, gave me mine. And it was an amazing, wonderful, incredible 20-year run. And I still run into people everywhere, at the pharmacy, at the airport, on the escalator, in the elevator, where oh my God, dude, I get this 1,000 years later. So, but it's amazing, right? And but that, and now we have, my wife and I, Shauna, run this thing, and it's just it's a lot of work. There's a lot more work than we thought it was going to be, but it's extraordinarily rewarding, and it's fun to see that after some trial and error, we're piecing this thing together, and it's becoming more successful, more subscribers, and people are loving the platform, and it's just been a nice shift. I mean, I still have the supplement line. I keep doing that, and it's over there. I still have the supplement line. And I still, I'm still on Tonal, and then of course there's this, and I'm talking to other companies as well. I'm not even going to even acknowledge that's happening anymore.
Exactly.
And I'm talking to a couple other companies.
Hearing act on us.
Yeah, just pretend I'm not. It's not,
We like when you come back in and just say, "Oh, I'm going to peek in on that."
We just hope that when it's time to ask you a question, you can hear it.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm concerned about.
So Tony, I think a lot of people, when they, I was taste wise, and then when I know you used to break down what was in Shakeology, I was a big fan of that. But I also was just frustrated with, gosh, we always have to remember where, this is a powerful thing for you all to understand. Remember where you came from. Remember who gave you a leg up. Remember the blood, sweat, and tears, and how powerful you fought to do what you did, and always do your best, right? I'm a big fan of the book, The 4 Agreements, and that's one of them. Always do your best. Bring it. So the power life aspect, though, that Tony ended up launching. When I found out that you were no longer with Beachbody. Yes, there it is. Exactly.
You say it, I had to pull it out.
And the big advertisement for Power Life on your back.
I know, that's actually what I thought you were doing. Monica, here it is.
Underlined, rabbit-eared. That book is a big deal for me.
It's such a good book.
So I used to love their products. And then just the person I am, and anybody who knows me in all these years, have always known that I'm very real. I'm very supportive of people. If I'm going to put my name behind something and then I ask them to do something, they do it, because I've always been very real. I've always been a big proponent of yours. You're so real. You're so authentic, humorous, and then get people the results that they're looking for. But when I heard that change going on with Beachbody, I was like, well, I don't want, because I had a lot of clients that were following Beachbody, doing the Shakeology, et cetera. And I said, nope, he's not there anymore. I want you to follow what he's doing now. So I have a lot of people saying, well, how do I get involved with this? So here you go. Here's your spiel. How do they get involved with Power Nation and with your supplements?
Well, if you want to supplement, and this is make sure to let all your folks know. Well, I'll let them know now, but remind them that you can use the Tony 30 discount. That's just my name. Capital line, 30 spaces, 30% discount on mypowerlife.com. mypowerlife.com. You can skip the infomercial stuff that we do there and just start buying the products. There's plant, there's whey, there's vanilla, there's chocolate, there's foundation 4. There's a brand new MTC collagen formula. There's a product for people who are cardio junkies called Endurance, which is just amazing. I went on a 6-mile run that normally kills me, and I took my Endurance, and it was a nice, perfect little assist that I needed because of the nice combinations of minerals and vitamins, and a little bit of caffeine, not much, but just enough to give me some giddy up. And then there's that. And of course, if you want to know more about Power Nation, you go to powernationfitness.com. That's powernationfitness.com.
But that has come a long way, because I've been with you, again, I wanted to support you. I've been with you from the very beginning when we were in the initial group. And Tony did what I do on a regular basis, which is, what do you want? I want this to be a part of your program. What do you guys like? What do you not like? What do you want to have in the final? And you were so real in that. It was also during COVID, so you were having to work out with the masks on, which... Woo, I hope we never have to do that again. Yes. Where is Tony in there?
I can't believe anybody did those early workouts with us, because we didn't know what was going on. I mean, I have a dear friend who was here this weekend who was the healthiest man in the world who died from COVID. So, and other people who were, morbidly obese, and it was like they got a head cold. It was hit and miss. So we had to play it safe in those days. And then all of you who were part of Power Nation dealt with all that crazy mask wearing during workouts and stuff. But in the end, we were able to, as things passed, we were able to shoot the real workouts mask free. And 24, you look at P90x had 12, and this has 24. So there's tons of variety, tons of calendars. And then, of course, I met Dr. Mindy Pelz less than a year ago. And the time between, a conversation like this that we've had online, we developed a program for women over 50, or, for women in general who are menopausal, premenopausal, postmenopausal. perimenopausal, you know what I mean? And it's the test groups, 2 test groups were just flabbergasted by the results, because finally something for women that works for them based on what's happening to their hormonal fluctuations. And I didn't know that. I mean, I would tell women, P90x is P120x for you. You just got to do an extra month. And for most,
I said at the beginning, the importance of men understanding. I actually had a guy, and I was so thrilled that he said this probably last year sometime. And he said, Monica, I wish more men would be brought to like a retreat or something where we really listen, we really get it, because we need to, because we have to be a support system. And we would also understand you all better of, gosh, what you all are going through. And I was like, ding, ding, ding. Yes. It's a big aha moment. Yeah. It's crazy. There goes Melissa. But I was going to say, it's crazy. I looked at this the other day and thought, women, they start their periods maybe at 12, maybe even earlier than that. And it's what's happening hormonally to us. Women you coach, the women that you're helping with mentally, with the nutrition aspect, what would you say is the percentage that's actually in that stage of menopause?
Oh gosh, probably 90% of my clients.
Wow.
Yeah. Perimenopause.
So what's the biggest thing you hear from them that you help them through? What are their questions?
Well, a lot of them, it's weight gain as they get older.
In the belly.
The body changing. Yeah. Because what happens is the hormones start to, as the estrogen goes down, we then convert into cortisol. Dr. Mindy is brilliant with all this stuff, but then we have more cortisol running through our system as our hormones go down. And so that's something that has to really be managed through sleep, exercise, stress relief, meditation, all those kinds of things. And we have all that empowerment, which is really cool. The mindfulness practices, all of that stuff. And and it's just really about you have to change your lifestyle. You really have to start to do things differently than you did when you were in your 20s and 30s and even early 40s.
Well, there's so many people get frustrated though. I mean, that's the whole thing. Both of you, if you want to address this, Tony, you've come from the kind of Hollywood lifestyle where everything's out there in, acting. We look at the actresses and actors, and we look at what's on magazines or in the movies. And it was forever for women watching this and chasing it, and the belief that, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough because I don't look like so-and-so. Yeah. But it was now the airbrush aspect, the Instagram. Why can't everybody just be more real? And what they're putting out there messes, not just with women, but young boys deal with this as well. And men deal with it. Even, as the guys get older, my husband just turned 60. He looks as good as you do, Tony, still in great shape, but he'll be like, looking in the mirror, I'm getting older. I'm like, gosh, where's the self-love?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's our culture.
I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do. I mean, longevity is one thing. I think too many people are exercising for all the wrong reasons, because they want to live longer. But then again, the quality of their life doesn't seem to be a priority, which is odd to me. I mean, why would you want to live longer and be miserable or sad or depressed or in pain or tired all the time? When in reality, if you just make some simple choices, you work out regularly, you eat pretty well, you have a mindfulness practice, and you get off the hooch and drink more water. I mean, there it is. That's the whole thing. You know what I mean? just do that. There's thousands of books that tell you, to move in every other direction to try to make this thing happen. Everybody's hacking. Like, I got a new biohack. I go, really? How about you move your ass and eat good? And then you can skip all the hacking. You know what I mean? I mean, there's some hacks that are cool, and that's really cute and everything else. I mean, I've got hacks. I've got infrared saunas and cold plunges and Theraguns and foam rollers and, certain supplements that help me, recover quicker or sleep better. But in reality, there's nothing like some box breathing or some meditation. I mean, John Kabat-Zinn's book, Full Catastrophe Living, was a big changer for me when I was going through hell. All the king's horses and all the king's men were trying to put me back together again. But I just needed to I learned, like, if you read Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, powerful book, man, from a man that went through the death camps, during the World War II. And how he learned to love his captors. Like, he figured he went to such a place that he had sympathy for these people as opposed to, having this vitriol, because he knew what that was going to do for him on the inside. And he survived it all. And he talks about that philosophy. And John Kabat-Zinn's book was another one that we just learned. We have to try to let the pendulum swing in the other direction. We need more patience. We need more love. We need to be better listeners. We need to understand, that just because you're not a white guy with a with a Christian background, that there's other people from around the world that are a little bit different than you, and you got to learn to like them or not. Because if you don't, you're going to have a lot more strife in your life than if you if you're going to hold on to all your pious bullshit. Excuse my French.
No, not at all. But it's true. And one of the things, and this is where the three of us, I really should say, the three of us connect, is
well,
that
2.5, because Melissa comes and goes.
And that's very true.
Right.
You never know when we're going to get her. 2.5 of us agree with this. You've got to put it all together. So this is what I do with my clients. I tell them it's 5 words. When they say, Monica, I can't journal, they come to my retreats and like, okay, I want to learn to journal. Can you please? There it is, 2.5 or 2 right now and a screen. I tell them, look, you want to start to journal. Can you do me a favor and write 1 word? Hi, Melissa, welcome back. 1 word in the morning. Just 1 word, not a bunch of phrases. I'm not asking you to journal. They're like, I'm not a journalist. And I said, I'm not asking you to be. I'm not asking you to be an author. I'm asking you to write 1 word. 1 word. What is it? What is your intention for the day? Is it hope for yourself, for your family, for your kids, for the world? Hope. That's it. All the concentration on hope. And then you'll get up. You might step on a dog toy. Your kids might be screaming. Your husband might say something that sets you off. Continuously come back and try to upright your ship and put yourself back on the hope mindset. And then I ask them to draw a triangle at the top of their page every day and write the words mental, physical, spiritual, but every day it might flip around and look different. So if you wake up and think, boy, my mental state is not doing well, then you're going to put mental at the top of the triangle. In the middle, it might be my spiritual state's not doing well. I've lost faith. I don't think God's here for me anymore, or whatever your belief is not here. And then physical might be at the bottom because no one really has to tell you to work out. That's usually mine. Physical's low. I train, love to work out, but it's the other ones. It might flip flop. So I was like, okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 words. Go through the day, keep focusing, being present. At the end of the day, 1 more word, and that's your gratitude word. What is that? Not actual gratitude or actual intention. Maybe you start with those, but it's what is your gratitude at the end of the day? And then everyone's like, it can't be that simple. It is if we just start making choices. You put a lot of that into your program, which is why when you launched it, I thought, oh my gosh, this is what I've been doing with my clients. I love that he's taken it to a higher level and using the following that you have. So I asked Melissa earlier, the percentage of women that come to her from more of the menopausal background and the struggles that they have. I would ask you, Tony, in what you've been doing since you went out on your own, what part of the emphasis would you say in which all the following that you have that you would say is here, is the mental side that you're trying to get across? What percentage?
Well, it's interesting. Percentage-wise, it's tough to say because, there's one size doesn't fit all. So everybody's a little bit different. A lot of people are very cerebral to begin with. A lot of people are really physical. Some people are visual learners. Some are just like, they have different kinds of ways of absorbing that information. I've always felt that the physical is the foundation of who we are, because if we take care of that first, that automatically affects and helps and improves the quality of your mental and emotional state. Because, the sciences, if you've read John Ratey's book, Spark, you understand that physical activity, whether it's a yoga class or a 2-mile run or any P90x or Power Nation or tonal or whatever you're doing, you're going to release the norepinephrine, the dopamine, the serotonin, and the brain-derived neurotropic factor, the BDNF, that lights up the hippocampus and the temporal lobe and the central part of your brain. It just changes your attitude and your creativity and your productivity and your ability to deal with other people and other cultures. You just become the glass becomes half full, even though it was half empty before you started doing whatever you're doing. That is the effects of the physical. So that to me is priority number 1. And percentage-wise, is it 33 1/3 across the board? I don't know. I think it's 100% on all 3, but you got to do the first one first, which is the physical. And that's not maybe the case for everybody. Some people are better at just, they pick up one of the multiple personal development books I have back there, and they start applying. I mean, that's what was it for me at first, because I didn't know this. I just knew that when I took a weightlifting course in college, my GPA went up that semester. Oh, this is luck. I had better attention. I wanted to go to class, you know what I mean, as opposed to I ain't going to class. You know what I mean? I drank less. I wanted to do what the coach, the trainer, told me to do. He said, you guys got to eat better. You got to get off the hot dogs and the chimichangas and the pizzas and start eating some freaking broccoli and come to this class 3 days a week and do what I tell you. And everything improved. My mental and emotional state improved because I was taking a weightlifting class. So I think that's really, really important. And to jump on top of what you're saying, about, like, I love your strategy of the triangle, how it shifts. What I tell people is write down 10 mindfulness practices. One of them is playing Led Zeppelin loud or whatever it is, Peter Paul and Mary. I don't care what it is. But every time you play on music that you're familiar with, you're very present. You're very in the moment because it brings back memories and you just enjoy what you're doing. Walk the dog, get in the garden, 4x4, take a nap, make your list of 10. And whenever you're feeling like you're not in the moment, and your head's in the past or your head's in the future, and you know it being right here and right now, go down the list and go, I'm going to go for a walk. Tony said that's a mindfulness practice. And and by the way, there are guys who are doing that right now on your roof.
They're trying to bust through. They want to get down here and work out with us. Again, if you're just tuning in, we are doing the real side of this. So we had this interview set up with Tony and Melissa, and then the roofers. I was like, oh, the roofers are going to be here. And I'm like, I'm going to do it, because if I left TV, the poise behind the desk, delivering the news to you, or down in the basement, look, we're going back to, this is where you knew me during COVID. I did Monica's Motivational Moments down here, and it was real. I've come to them in a closet with no makeup on and my pajamas and a glass of wine and the dogs. And I'm like, can we just all be more real, please? So let them do this on the roof.
I love that you said dogs, and at that exact moment, Melissa's dog walks by.
I know, she walked by.
You set that up? That was impressive. That's amazing.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break again. I want to talk a little bit more about why this program that's focusing so much on women over the age of 50, why it's working so well, and what you're doing and what the aha moment is for a lot of the women. So we'll have more with Tony and Melissa when we return.
Carroll House Furniture is growing and hiring for many positions. Drive to success, delivering concierge service and setup in customer homes.
Enjoy teamwork in our clean, organized warehouse where Carroll House stocks for fast, free delivery.
Associates sell more and make more with 3.5 acres of choices in stock, infinite custom orders, plus the lowest prices in the country.
If you like top pay and the best benefits in St. Louis, you'll love working here.
So if you like nice things, join the Carroll House Furniture family.
Well, the warmer weather is exiting and colder weather is upon us. Have you been putting off getting that heater inspected or fixed? Well, that's like pushing your car to fumes. You don't want to be left feeling empty and cold. Let Aldon Indoor Air Quality Specialist come to your rescue to take you out of the miserable cold inside your home and help warm you, your home, and your hearts. Don't put it off or you'll be stranded inside in the cold. Aldon Indoor Air Quality Specialist. From routine maintenance to unexpected repairs, they've got you covered with 24-hour availability. al-don.com. Welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show, and we're being real. If you hear knocking, it's not your door, it's the roofers putting in the roof. We're being real. If Melissa goes in and out, it's because she's just playing peekaboo with us today. And Tony has been the consistent one. Just here. Oh no, here he goes. We're leaving the scene.
As always, the consistent one.
Tony Horton and Melissa Costello are my guests. Melissa and I have gotten to know each other over the last couple of years with a lot of my transformation journey clients, and I've had her on my Thursday night life coaching class. Has been very profound, very impactful. We're talking about women now over the age of 50 and a program that Tony launched about a year ago. So what's been the most profound thing as a trainer and a person that people are really respecting in launching this program, Tony?
Well, I had a mastermind with Dr. Mindy Pelz one night. We were just kind of talking about, what she does and kind of her research and her background and whatnot. And she was saying that when she did P90X, she changed the original schedule because she knew based on her hormonal fluctuations that yoga day was not yoga day. It had to be chest and back, or chest and back wasn't the right day. It should have been, whatever Abra X or whatever sequence worked for her. And so she didn't suffer from the boredom and the injuries and the plateaus that come from what most people suffer from when they're trying to get something done. And she was able to keep her energy up and her fatigue and injuries and soreness down. And, I had that, I said, that's amazing. She goes, and I've always wanted to create some version of that, a brand new product with you. I thought of all the trainers, I ever want to do it with you're the guy. Cause I've done P90X 3 times. I said, you are insane. How can you listen to me go, like they'll over and over. Don't smash your face or do your best to forget the rest. But, she just loved the program and the silliness and the humor. And she felt like she was part of a group of friends. And I said, good idea. 9 months later, we shot it. Mm-hmm. And we put it in the can and we put it out to the world. And we had 2 test groups. And women were loving it for a lot of reasons. Number one was it was, and by the way, there's still a men's schedule. Men have been doing it and loving it as well. There's 11 workouts, but there's a very strong flexibility, yoga, mindfulness component, much more so than you would have seen with P90X. P90X, I put in that hour and a half hatha yoga thing that everybody skipped.
I still this day, I used to take some of the programs. I'm like, oh, I want to sprinkle in a little thing that some of the stuff that Tony's doing. And whenever that would come up, they're like, no 90 minutes of yoga. I'm like, God, he's heard that for years.
But so what, and over the, P90X3, X2, blah, 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 I shorten them. And I, because I understand that people have, subpar attention spans, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
And so that like the breath work, flexibility thing in Power Sync 60, it's called, I don't know if I said that yet, it's called Power Sync 60, is really unique and really special. And people are just really, really enjoying that. And what I've discovered, and the reason why I put yoga in everything anyway, because it's the glue to everything else in a program. If you're doing purely cardio or pure, hypertrophy or body weight or weightlifting, you're missing out on the most important aspect, which is allowing your body to be more durable and less vulnerable. And that's what it does. And also the mindfulness component gets your head on straight so you can get out of your head when it comes to making sure that you can start this thing and get to the end and finish. Now, the other two things that we added was powering up and powering down. Now in P90X and all the other programs, we had the intensifier and the modifier. This is really truly showing the most extreme version of an exercise and the most mellow version of the exercise. So people didn't feel like, all right, well, here I am watching this thing and I can't do half of it. And also what I did this time, I think, which was really, and it just made sense to me. I remember when I was thinking about it one day, how can I get people to show up who don't want to do an hour and a half yoga? We put in stop options. We put in stop options, like 20 minutes in. If the thing's 50 minutes long, you can stop at the 20-minute mark. And if you want to keep going, great. If you want to go to the second stop option, what? Wait, there's two? Yes, there's more than one. And that way we would say, hey, you're here at the stop option. You got things to do, a place to go, and people to meet. You're new to fitness. You shouldn't keep going. Just fast forward to the cool down and you're good to go. And most people go, funny, I got past the first stop option. I got the second stop option. When I feel I'm going to go to the end. You know what I mean? So I tricked people into doing more than anticipated they were going to do before they started. And so that just got more people in the game more consistently. And so consistency is the key to this whole thing, because we do everything else very consistently. We breathe very consistently. We eat very consistently. We go to work very consistently. We pay our bills very consistently. And those are all the things that we do on planet Earth so we can just survive. But everybody wants to thrive. And if you want to thrive, you got to move your butt and eat good. And the mindfulness is that glue, and the yoga to get people. And the test group folks, a 71-year-old woman was hoping to lose 10 pounds. Her husband was like, why do you keep doing all this stuff? Why do you spend the money? Why, you are who you are. Your mother didn't have it. Your grandmother, your great-grandmother. She lost 15 pounds and she changed her own genetics in her lifetime as a 70. So her husband was a big fat turd. That's all.
Oh, he's a turd.
And that's a lot of people. They get a lot of negative energy coming in the house from their spouses and their kids and their family. Yeah. And she
not just that, but you've seen it, I'm sure. It is when they start to lose weight. And then I tell them, really watch what happens around you. You'll know who your true friends are. I've got a woman that just she's closing in on 90 pounds with me. And she's like, Monica, and then now her life coaching, as you can imagine, Melissa, is ramping up even more with me. And she's like, well, all these people I really thought were my friends. I said, I told you a year or two ago to pay attention. It's, oh, wait, you're not in this miserable group that I'm in anymore. You're not heavy. You're not eating crap. You're not going out and drinking and getting plastered and throwing up and all these things. We're not having fun and partying. And she's not only is she understanding and being present and eating right, working out. She's like, I want to look better. I want to feel better. She's like, I don't fit in these clothes anymore. I'm like, oh, no, of course not. Now they're like tense on you because you wait. She's doing her hair, doing her makeup, and everyone's like, is something wrong? Are you going through a midlife crisis? And I was like, no, she's being who she's always wanted to be. Give her a break.
Yeah. Because everybody wants you to be right where they're comfortable where you are. And then when you start making dramatic change, there's a lot of guilt that's going on within, like, oh, I don't know if I have the energy and enthusiasm to do what she's doing. So what do? Instead of supporting her and telling her what a rock star she is, they just try to keep chopping her down, even when she's at her very best.
Yep.
Yeah. And so like one of my things is, you got to get rid of the chaff. You got to find the lead, you got to hang with them. And, you know, I mean, I have a lot of people, and Melissa knows, I cut people out left and right. Like if you're not, because I'm 65, I got about, 15 minutes left on earth. And I want to make sure that I'm with really cool, funny, enthusiastic, awesome people who are living large, and that lifts me up and keeps me inspired and motivated too. But anybody like all the finger pointers and naysayers and the wannabes.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya. We'll leave you behind. Absolutely. There's no time for that. There really isn't. I mean, it's unfortunate that people, and I think we've all been there. You give so much weight to someone. You're trying so hard to make them like you. And it's like, gosh, once you really realize, if you open up your path and you allow that debris and negativity to go away, some incredible people might walk in, or you'll give more power to the people around you that have always been there for you. Maybe you haven't given enough power, but yeah, I actually use the word because people have such an aversion to it. I'm like, you can divorce people. Oh, don't say the word divorce. No, but I'm like, you can divorce family from your life, divorce friends from your life. But there's divorces that come back and you get married again. So they could walk back in your life again. And it's up to you if you let them walk back in again. Melissa, I know you're bouncing in and out, but I want you to address that. For the women that you help and coach, how many of them give so much weight to the, why don't they like me?
Oh gosh, it's kind of the running thread underneath everything with women, right? I want to be liked, I want to please people, I want to make everyone happy, right? And that's where that kind of, you had reached out, Tony wrote that email about women choosing themselves first. Yes. And and how women are usually not taught that. And so it is a common thread that runs, and it just causes all kinds of issues for women. They are kind of, they don't follow their dreams. They don't take care of themselves. They're taking care of their kids or their husbands or their grocery shopping or like all the things, and then they just lose sight of who they are. They get disconnected from who they are. And so, so I really work on kind of bringing them back to themselves and working on those belief systems that keep them kind of stuck in that space.
Absolutely. Tony, so the question, during your old P90X days and then now with Power Nation, how do you go about who you decide to surround yourself with to showcase? Because you, kind of like Oprah, you have really launched a lot of careers.
Well, I mean, at my ripe old age, I'm pretty good at sort of sussing people out, checking, I can get a sense of somebody's character right away. I can tell whether they're full of BS or not, and quite often it's quite haphazard. I just invite anybody and everybody to my world. If they show up on a Wednesday night, which is a plyometrics class, which is not an easy thing to do. This is a routine that I've been doing for close to 17 years. And I futz with it a little bit. I'll do faster repetitions or focus more on ROM, range of motion and stuff. And that's sort of the introduction to the Tony Horton world. A lot of them can't walk for 5 days, and so you never see them again. But other ones go, oh, wait a minute, I see the value in this. Here I am. I'm in Tony's backyard, and I'm jumping around. I'm doing plyometric lunges and crunchy frogs and whatever kind of goofy stuff that we're doing. But I feel this soreness is not in my hips and my knees and my ankles. It's in right where I need it. Because this is from the hips down, man. I mean, that's how we get around in this world. There's a lot of people who, show up at the airport with a couple of carry-on bags and the escalator goes out and they go into a flop sweat. You know what I'm saying? So the idea here is like when I go to the airport and I see those, like Chicago, they got one big long and another big one, and I see these people in line waiting for the escalators. I go, yeah, man, here we go, two at a time. And that's how I like to live life. Any opportunity is an opportunity to burn some calories and improve the quality of my brain. I mean, there's a mental and emotional. I get to the top of those stairs. I'm breathing deep, oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. Oh, I see the value in that. I should be doing that all the time. Mm-hmm. And so, sometimes Melissa knows I'll be on a Wednesday night. There'll be 25 people. Sometimes it's 4, but I invite 40 because I don't like that routine either. And if all 40 cancel, it's a sign from God that I'm supposed to take the day off. I mean, there was a guy who was walking down the street, and you could see he was looking at me all weird, and I was talking to my neighbor, and then I was, he was supposed to go on a hike, and he's down there with his daughter on the phone talking to his wife about me or something. And as soon as I walk away from my neighbor, he runs up, tells me how I saved his career, and turns out he's a head of the FBI gang unit here in L.A., Brian Goldstein, one of the sweetest, nicest men in the world. And what if I had just said, hey, man, sorry, I got to go inside. You don't get to meet. So I'm always like, hey, homeless guy, come on in. I don't care.
That's so we were talking during the break. Tony's like, "Hey, is that your stuff behind you?" And I was like, "Yeah, we got a Smith machine, and we got, I mean, all the way around, we got bags we got boxing bags in a rower, and equipment left and right." But when we moved into this house, I wasn't supposed to train here. I had been training at different gyms and then out at the park, etc. And it just kind of happened that one night there was like a deluge of rain, and everybody I was going to train at the park, I'm like, hey, I can't have them not training. I don't have time to tell everybody where to go, so we're just going to have to do it. My husband's like, you're bringing everybody into our home? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, Monica. So my husband's a lieutenant with the St. Louis County Police. So he's Mr. I don't trust anyone. And I love the world. Come on into my home.
Come on in.
Balance, right?
Yes.
Balance.
Yeah, totally.
We offset each other.
And by the way, I used to be that way. I used to be a little skeptical. I live in the big city and everything else. And there's a certain amount of crime and stuff happening, in the surrounding neighborhoods and stuff. But I don't know. You either can feel them out or you can't feel them out. And that plyo session, that'll they come back, they're worth hanging with. If they don't, well, then they weren't meant to be here in the first place.
This is interesting. So I'll tell this story. I'm trying to think how long ago. This is probably it's prior to gym. So this is probably 13 to 15 years ago. You and I, which is just crazy after all these years, have never had a chance to meet in person, but we were so close. I was in Long Beach, California, and then I was going down to Dana Point, and we missed each other literally by one day. I was so fresh with the people I was driving with. I'm like, no, wait, do we absolutely have to leave right now? I'm like, Tony and I used to be on my radio show together, and you were like, come work out with me. Come work out with me. I'm going to be over. Actually, you were in, oh my gosh, where? I'm trying to think. You were in Santa Monica.
Santa Monica.
I was on the Santa Monica Brentwood border.
Yes, and you were doing the pegs and everything, and you're like, come work out with me. And then they had left, and we're driving, and I'm like, I think I'm going to get a car and go back. You guys got to be kidding me. He and I were going to train together. And then all these years later, which is absolutely crazy to me, that we have not had a chance to do a workout and meet. I'm just going to have to come to your house on a Wednesday night.
The invitation is open. It always has been. It always will be.
I know.
So let's do it before our 90s. I think that's our goal.
Please. Well, we were talking earlier about the characters that have played a role in P90X, and one of them just recently came up in an interview that was done with Alicia Moore, better known as Pink. So she, of course, does all the silks and all that, and beautiful. So Drea is someone you introduced all of us to back in the P90X days, and here's Drea stepping on top of Pink's belly just to show her incredible ability to sing upside down in the silks. How did you and Drea meet?
Well, it's interesting. There was one of the test group guys. His name was Matt. And he had great results. This is when I used to, twice a day, drive across town, go to this gym, teach a P90X class. Back then, it was sort of an experiment. Like I would ask them for feedback and stuff. Like, do you think this is a good move? What do you think of the sequence? It was very collaborative, not only with then me and all the research I did, but also with the people of the class. So Matt was in the class, and when the 90 days were up for that group, he said, you should meet this guy and his wife. His name is Ned Farr, and his wife Drea Weber. Oh, all right. So we kept the test group going because we wanted to pull people out of that test group to actually be in the workouts. And then this Ned Farr guy showed up, who's a filmmaker, and his most incredible, amazing wife Drea Weber. And the minute I met the two of them, I went, "You guys, by the way, you don't know it, but you're friends of mine for life." And then Ned ended up shooting all the photos, doing all the video, shot all the workouts, shot the infomercial. And what was amazing about Ned, and then Drea, of course, she had to be in some of the routines because she just moved like a ballerina. She was fit and strong and beautiful and funny. So we had that great rapport, and still to this day. And it's funny because I was watching that same interview on 60 Minutes, and I go, Drea Weber's on 60 Minutes with Pink. Exactly. And Pink used to talk about doing P90X on all the late night shows.
Yes, she sure did. She literally, I've gone to a lot of her concerts, and I remember in the very beginning in interviews that she did, she always credited her body to P90X. And I I was like, yes, I love that.
That sold a couple copies.
You made Pink. Yeah, exactly. I bet it did.
Yeah, like right now, I mean, I've become very friendly with the Lawrence brothers, Joey, Andy, and Maddie Lawrence. Yep. Joey was on Blossom, and they've all done Disney movies together, and they're like, they're at the house 3, 4, 5 days a week. Like Andy's here all the time. Sean and I have officially adopted Andy Lawrence, and it's cool because they're big stars in their own right. And And they all did, they bonded as brothers doing P90X for years and years and years. And now they're over here at the house getting the snot beat out of them. It's
Well,
fun.
you had a Star Wars connection to the early days of putting Power Nation together.
You mean Mr. Ewan McGregor?
Yes.
Yeah, Ewan has become a good friend. I mean, I've gotten him ready for a lot of different roles, and and I helped him set up his gym where he lives up in Malibu, and he's been to my place a bunch of times. He's just, like you meet. The cool thing about my gig is that I get to hang out with Bruce Springsteen. I get to hang out with Billy Idol and Tom Petty and Ewan McGregor and Allison Janney. And it's not like me with a bunch of entourage around. It's just me and that one person in a gym getting after it, having regular conversations about life. And it's been, Andy and Matt Lawrence, like, when are they going to do the movie about you, dude? Because who leaves Connecticut with $400 in their pocket and ends up being you? Like I mean, the $400, running out of money in Boulder, making $125 so you could go to Huntington Beach and live on the floor for 3 months doing mime at the pier. And then now now there's, millions and millions of copies of whatever program I've done, and people are I don't know. To me, it's just like, it's been a very slow time frame, but when if you break it down into a 90-minute movie, it'll seem pretty bizarre, I think.
It's amazing though, and I think that's the way I want to bring it home, is belief in oneself. People will try to stunt your growth. We've all probably been bullied at some point. We've all had someone who gave themselves such a huge head. They're a CEO of something, they're a news director, they're this boss, whatever level of wherever you are, and they want to think that they can control your life. It's all up to you if you allow them to. They say you can't be this. You believe them? Well, then there you go. Or you do what I say on a regular basis, which is, no, it's not true. I mean, I love the movie The Help, right? You is beautiful. You is kind. It's so true. You are. What is your belief? And I know so many people struggle. They're in deep darkness, their depression, their mental health state. And they're like, but I've been beat up, like maybe physically, or I've been abused in some way. And we know people have walked a very dark life, but at some point your choice is, who are you surrounding yourself with? What are you doing to try to get out of that darkness? Yeah. What kind of power are you giving to someone? And I know that's a big part. We all deal with it in what we do, of who comes to the table with that. We're going to wrap up with that. I'm going to take one final break. And again, I want you to be able to follow where Melissa is now, where Tony is, and how they might be able to help you, again, upright your ship and get you to understand what I say on a daily basis, know your value. Our final wrap up of the show when we return. Hi, it's Monica Adams. Thank you so much for following along with The Real Monica Adams Show since we launched back in March. But I wanted to let you know there's so much more that I could do with you, your business, your corporation. Did you know that I'm a motivational speaker all around the world, as well as an MC and an auctioneer? So if you have an event, maybe a nonprofit organization, and you want to book me, just shoot me an email, info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Personal training, life coaching, and styling as well. Info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Envita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Envita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Envita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Envita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment, or online, envitahealthandwellness.com. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, I look forward to having you go back. Remember, YouTube or Facebook, where you can watch these. And then remember, every Thursday, we drop a new audio podcast on all the platforms, so you can listen to this. We'll let this one make it onto it. I don't care if it was with all the pounding in the background, because I want you to understand that that's real life. And I want you to be more authentic with it. I went into the break, Tony and Melissa, and I just kind of want to bring it home with that so many people have given up on themselves. So many people say, well, someone said I'm not, someone said I can't be, and so I'm not. And I just give up, and they've given up on themselves. What final message would you be able to give to that mindset? Melissa, you want to go first?
Yeah. You said so many people have given up on themselves, and that's kind of where they are in their mindset.
Yeah. What would you say to them when they just feel like they've given up on themselves?
I mean, you got to get support. You got to have, you have to find someone that's going to help you, and that's going to help motivate you and help you turn things around. And whether that's a friend, a mentor, a coach, someone. Like, I've gone through dark periods of my life, and the people who pull me out are my best friends and the coach I'm working with, or the therapist I'm working with. Like, those are the people that I always go to and rely on when I go kind of through those peaks and valleys of life. I just always get support. You have to have support.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would piggyback on that. I mean, I wrote a book called The Big Picture, the 11 Laws That'll Change Your Life. And the first 3 laws are really, they're there. The first one is do your best, forget the rest. But the next 3 are purpose, plan, and accountability. So you have to figure out why you're going to do what you're going to do, and making sure it's for the right reasons, long term. If it's to look good in a dress at a wedding in front of a bunch of friends who aren't even paying attention, probably a bad one. I mean, if it's all about your ego and the aesthetics and the expectations of how you hope to look in the future, good luck with that. Because the boredom and the injuries and plateaus that are coming from that journey are going to shut that down. Mm-hmm. So my purpose is, like I said, it's the physical that affects my mental and emotional. I just am a more productive, happier, creative, present human being because I move physically. And it can be a walk. It can be P90x too. I don't care what it is. But it should be often. And that comes, number 2 is a plan. What is your plan? Announce to the universe what you're going to do and when, and make sure you don't schedule anything else. So it's already locked in. Have your clothes out on the ottoman at the end of your bed, ready to go the next day with the shoes and the socks inside. You know what I mean? Like, that's my plan. I have a calendar. You get your red pen and you mark it down. It's 22 days a month minimum. 15 days off, 15 days on. You're going to end up with exercise bipolar disorder. You're not going to know up from down. You're not going to see the changes that you want. And last but not least, and this is what Melissa was saying, it's about accountability. Surround yourself with like-minded people who want to live the way you want to live, and then go be with them. Do it with them. And do it for, like, when I train because I want to go skiing hard. I want to get on my bike outside of Rome and get on the Appian Way where Caesar was, back in the day. And I want to be on the bike and on the brake. A lot of people are in their car taking pictures through the window because they didn't prepare themselves to have a much more exhilarating experience. So purpose, plan, and accountability. And then go buy my book. And then
yes. Well, the accountability aspect is so huge. And I think you have to have an accountability partner. They might not be with you in person. They might just check on you. But then if you're just kind of wavering, check on them again. Say, hey, did you do it? Because you're worth it, right? You're valuable. You should own this. I tell them all the time, you put this in you put appointments in your calendar. You give such value to everybody else. And there's no space in there ever for you. Where did you lose yourself? Put yourself in there, just like you said. Nobody else can have that space. That's you. It's most important. Turn it off. I love the fact you just said you came back from Jackson Hole. I was reading your letter that goes out to everybody, and it was like, I needed that rest, relaxation, reboot yourself, and get away from the emails, get away from social media, get away from it all of the chop, all this in our heads, and again, rejuvenate yourself to come back even stronger and better for your relationships, for every aspect of your life. You need that. We need that. We Absolutely. Preach a lot. I have to even tell myself, I tell people, check me on it on a regular basis. If I start to lose and I'm giving, check me on it, because I've got to be more present with the man upstairs, not on the roof, but the man upstairs.
Sounds like the man upstairs is coming.
Not Santa.
He's coming. He's on. I can see him up there. He's coming through now.
You two are incredible. I'd love to have you back on the show. There's so many incredible things you're doing. So if they want to find out more about your program, again, you want to give them all that, Tony?
mypowerlife.com for all the supplements, powernationfitness.com. And if you want to know more about some of the other stuff that I'm doing, like my yoga retreat, it's going to be in Jackson Hole at the end of January this year. Go to TonyHortonLife.com. And then you can buy you can buy my supplements there. You can also buy all my fitness equipment, my power stands, my med balls, my yoga mats, my travel yoga mats at TonyHortonLife.com. And then come and hang out with me and Ted McDonald. You got one there? Yay, you're a good girl. Look at that. Right on.
My clients love those. You have
trademarked and patented.
Anybody with wrist? Oh, I have more than that. Look, I also they love those. And
what else you got in mind, Monica?
These are the best.
Good.
And I'll tell you.
Oh, the bands.
I'll tell you from a trainer who many years ago had a client that was working out, and the band snapped and smacked me in the eyeball. I thought I was going to be blind. Worst thing ever. But I was like, this And she goes, do you need, and I said, no, keep going. It's okay. I'm watching you with one eye. Keep going.
That's accountability.
This,
you put
incredible.
protective nylon covers on there. Yeah. Yeah. And what those nylon covers do also is they prevent you to go past the range of motion that the band was designed to do. So people are like stretching, like, let's see how far it goes. Snap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the bedpost is flying down on their heads.
So yes, I get nothing for this. I'm just telling you as a trainer what I love, and it's these bands and the power stands for people who have wrist issues, etc. Those are the things that I will give you feedback on that people have absolutely loved, and then they've come back and said, "Well, can I buy some?" And I was like, "Yes, here's the website."
Yeah, because if you're doing that, a lot of people can't do that when they're doing a push-up. That's just too much pressure here. I designed the power stands so that where am I? Your hand is here. You're in a power position. It's wide. It's soft. The base is round. They're not going anywhere. I mean, it's funny. Like, why? How did I figure that out? Like, these fitness companies have got these rickety metal, terrible things that flip and are awful. So yeah, thank you for that plug. And
no, you're welcome. Now you can see I'm very real. I mean, that's the part I have.
You've been real since the day I met you, girlfriend.
I have always been supportive of you. I love what you're doing, and I just love the fact that you have a platform to change the world, and that's what we all need to be doing together. Melissa, if anybody, I know I've got your Karma Chow book, the Ultimate Reset. I did with some of my clients before. Just love that. But for what you're doing now, where can we follow you?
Still karmachow.com, and I'm also part of Power Nation. So I have a program in Power Nation called Get Right With Your Food. I do cooking classes and power talks and masterminds. So a lot of good stuff in there too.
Absolutely. I love you both. And I'm so thrilled with what we all can do together to move forward into this. I end every one of my shows, everybody, the same way. You literally have the power to go out and do whatever you want to do in this world. Please go and do that and believe in yourself and have value in yourself. But before you are anything at all, before you become what you want to become, I want you to be kind to each other, every human being that you meet. Just spread kindness. God bless you all. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Monica.
Bye. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Did you enjoy that? I know it was crazy going in and out, the roofers, Melissa's signal. I mean, she had like 60-mile-per-hour winds. It was nuts. Anyway, how many of you have done his programs before? That's what I wanted to know. If you were a big fan of Power Nation, P90x, P90x2 Plus, all those things, now you can find him and actually be a part of this community. He'll work out live with us. You'll get a chance to maybe Zoom with him in workouts. Melissa was just talking about masterminds. They are incredible, very similar to how I do my life coaching class on Thursday nights, but he's got this huge platform. I mean, he's a big deal. And again, we're going to be sprinkling in interviews like that as we go into 2024. So do me a favor and take this show and spread it out wide all across the United States and other countries. Let people know, your family, your friends, like, hey, this is what Tony Horton's doing. And I just love what he has come back from after going through his debilitating disease. And, just think of this man that's in incredible shape and all of a sudden being in a wheelchair for months upon months and not thinking he was going to be able to come back to work out. And then he did. And it's all about, the mindset, the power of the mind, the power of the spirit, and the supplementation that he does, the healthy lifestyle that he has. I just have a friend that I used to work with at Fox 2 years ago, Annalise Parks. You remember Annalise? Wonderful meteorologist. She was going on and on and on about how much she loved Jackson Hole. And I was like, I've never been, but Tony's a big fan of going to Jackson Hole. That's how he does his reset. So I don't know if any of you have ever been there, but did a little hashtag of Jackson Hole, Wyoming and their mountain resort. I think we all need to get there because he swears by it. So I hope you enjoyed that. And if there's other people that you would like for us to try to reach out to, if you have a connection to different people, let me know. I've got my email address that I give you on a regular basis scrolling right here on the screen. And before we wrap up, I want to remind you, because it kind of goes in line with some of the things we were talking about today. We have a vision setting night that is going to take place next week, Thursday. So a week from today, it is going to be with myself and Kasha Satars. And it is all about getting your mindset and realizing, and hopefully you heard that through this interview today, of how many things in life you wanted to do, but you allowed someone else to have power to knock you off of your vision. Well, we're going to teach you how to set your vision and how to keep it going into 2024. She has a clinic that she runs in Canada, very successful. She'll be talking about heart-centric work, about mindset setting, vision boards. I'm going to tell you about the triangle and go deeper into that. If you ever do want to join us, by the way, on a Thursday night, we have classes at 5 p.m. usually. Now it's been a little off with the holidays coming up, but we'll get those right back on track in 2024. 5 p.m. on Thursdays, and you can reach out to me to find out how you can join. It's through Zoom, so you don't have to be in person. Info right there at TheRealMonicaAdams.com. So I'd love to see you on a Thursday night. I would love to see you, more importantly, with your family and friends, your coworkers, guys, girls, kids, by the way, under the age of 18. They are free. So introduce your kids at an early age about their importance and their value. So we'll be doing that again on Thursday, December 21st. It will be from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Central Time. And again, since she's going to be in Canada and I'm here, of course, in the States, we're going to do that together. So 6 p.m. Central Time to 7:30 next Thursday. If you haven't signed up for it yet, do so. Go to my website, TheRealMonicaAdams.com, click on what's new, and you can sign up for the vision setting night. And you can also make sure that you register for our Monica's must-haves, and that is for Christopher's and Mark Anthony's, the giveaways that we have, and we'll be giving another one away tomorrow. I'll be joined by Mark tomorrow morning. I hope you can join us at 7 a.m. in Kirkwood, and we'll be doing a giveaway of the nice little ornament, the cardinal ornament. We'll be giving away that tomorrow. All right, enjoy your day. Love you all very much, and if you have any other comments, I'll be sure to be looking at this throughout the rest of the day. I hope you enjoyed today's interview. We've got some other great ones to come. I'll see you tomorrow morning.